Now, from time to time, Microsoft releases a new operating system. Windows XP replaced Windows 2000, Vista replaced XP, Windows 7 replaced Vista, Windows 8 now will eventually replace Windows 7. So when these new versions come out, we need to upgrade the Windows versions that's on our machines that we're supporting. Now you have two main options when you're moving from one version of Windows to a newer version. And this can be a fairly complicated process. The two options you have are to do what's called a clean install or an upgrade. So when we're thinking about upgrading Windows, both of those get us to that upgraded location. For example, if I'm running Windows 7 and I want to upgrade to Windows 8, I can either do a clean install or what's called an upgrade. Both of those will get me to the place where I have Windows 8 running on my computer, and I have said to upgrade my computer to Windows 8. Well, let's talk about each one of these options separately. First of all, a clean install. A clean install refers to an installation. Let's say that I have Windows 7 on my machine and I want to go to Windows 8. If I do a clean install, I'm actually going to wipe my computer disk. The computer disk is formatted before Windows 8 gets installed. When I format that disk, it's going to destroy or erase all the data on that disk. That includes the old Windows 7 operating system, and here's the bad part, any user data. So documents, applications, everything's going to get erased. The new operating system, in my little example there, Windows 8, gets installed in a totally clean environment. Now, a clean install gives you a chance at a fresh start, and it can alleviate troublesome issues. Now, maybe you've got a Windows 7 machine that got into some serious malware infestations, and you got it clean, but there's still some problems. You know, I have relatives and people call me all the time and say, my computer's just running slow and it's horrible. What can I do with it? The best thing you can do is just wipe the thing clean and do a clean install. Now, your user data, your user profiles, all that stuff has to be manually backed up before you start this clean install. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. So if we're going to do a clean install, the advantages are it gives us a brand new, clean working environment. All old problems go away. However, there's an extra step in performing this kind of upgrade because we've got to go back up everything that we're going to need before we start that clean install. Otherwise, we're going to lose it when that format happens on that disk before the clean install actually happens. Also, let me remind you one more time, all your old applications on the old version will have to be reinstalled on the new one. And that can take a considerable amount of time and patience. If we do what's called an upgrade, we can upgrade, for example, Windows 7 to Windows 8. You will also hear this referred to as an in-place upgrade. With an in-place upgrade, all the user data and applications are preserved. They're going to be just like they were. And what's going to happen is it's simply going to check the files that have changed or replaced the operating system files and overwrite the new files and make whatever changes need to be made out there in the system file structures to put Windows 8 in place of where Windows 7 was. All this is automated. The old operating system files are replaced with the new operating system files. It figures out which ones need to be replaced. It takes care of all that. It just kind of sits there and clicks and hums, and you watch pretty messages and graphics happen on the screen, and you will find that doing an upgrade is much faster and more convenient than a clean install. So if you have, say, a Windows 7 installation running just fine, it's not clunky, there are no problems, there are no surprises, then that's a great candidate to just upgrade to Windows 8. Because once we're done, we've got all of our applications still there, all of our documents are still there. By the way, we're always going to do a good full backup before we start even an upgrade because sometimes things go wrong in the computer world, right? And weird error messages stop popping, and before you know it, you've lost some data. Always get a good backup before you start any kind of upgrade. Now, as long as previous operating system issues don't necessitate a clean install, just a regular upgrade is probably the way to go. You'll just have to make that decision based on the condition that your particular operating system is in. If you're working in an environment where you have 400 PCs that's got to go from Windows 7 to Windows 8, you've got a little bit of planning to do. We'll talk about that more later on. But for now, that's your options on upgrading Windows. Watch the terminologies here. Make sure you know the advantages and disadvantages of each option.